hear. Yeah, let's start with the question. So, have you borrowed books from others, or have you ever borrowed something from others?
Yes, of course. About book, I I I borrowed book when at any time I see an interesting book that's not belonging me. So I'm not shy to borrow it.
Okay. Why did so you borrowed them because you think they are helping you, the books, or you're just interested in the theme of the book?
Mm, I borrow the books related. I just think it's interesting in the attract me when I have a look at some pages of the book.
Okay. Mm, so you borrow them because you think you can learn something from that.
And sometimes it's just for relax, for entertaining.
Ah, okay. That means you also just read some romance or fantasy stories.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I see. Um, have you ever borrowed money from other people?
Yes, of course, because sometimes I don't have enough money for my work,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I must ask for help from friends or my parents.
Okay, so you borrow the money because you need it for your education. This is how
And
I understand.
education. Um,
And do you need sometimes money just for living, like for food or for paying the rent of your apartment?
mm, Sometimes for living, for the rent house, uh, the rent apartment, or sometimes for my learning.
Mm-hmm. And do you also borrow sometimes money from your family and friends just for enjoyment, like things you uh, like to do in your free time? For example,
Mm.
going to a cinema or...
No, I don't think so. For entertainment, for something I like it, I just buy it when I have enough, when I can afford it.
Mhm. Do you why do you only borrow if you want to if why do you only borrow money when it's needed for education and living, like paying the rent and paying food, and not for enjoyment?
I think I don't want to uh, bother others
But
for bother.
okay, bother others.
Yes,
All right,
I
I
don't
understand.
want to bother because
Okay.
it's my interest. It's
Mm-hmm.
just my interest, so I can not do that if I can afford it. And so it's maybe the motivates myself to
Mm-hmm.
earn more money for this.
So I understand, like, you want to do it on your own, like you want to be independent. So after you get independent, you can afford like visiting a cinema or making a day trip to the mountains or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Whew. Is there any problem in your relationship with the persons you borrow money, with the persons you are borrowing money from?
I think it's no problem. There is no problem with my relationship, with our relationship, because I often borrow from my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I always keep my promises to pay money back to her or him on schedule.
Okay, so it's like a relationship of trust. So
Yeah, that's
okay.
just and our relationship often is getting closer and closer because I keep promises. I keep promise. So the next time she or he trust me more.
Okay, one question, like when you borrow just like a small amount, maybe like just for one
Big
meal, like
a
in
big
case
amount.
in case you borrow just like 20,000 donk, and it's just for having a nice cup of coffee or a small meal. Mm, is it important, like when your friend has not money, would you invite her, and like, you know, she can give the money back, but she doesn't have to. um
In sometimes when I hang out with my friend and she don't bring money, so I am glad to invite
mhm.
her to have a coffee and have enjoy our time.
That was not that okay. That was not really about like borrowing, but like the option is there that, for example, she is like giving in return the next time you a coffee. You know, it's like
Yeah,
giving and taking.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's,
Okay.
and the next time she could invite me.
Yeah.
Yes, and
All right
we
then.
have fun together.
Yeah. It's not about. Okay, I understand. I understand. Um. Okay. Last question. Do you like to lend things to others, and how do you feel if the people don't return?
When I lend from I lend things from others, it depends on how close we are.
Hmm.
Yes,
So you need to trust. You
yes,
need.
and of course, it also rely on my affinity. If I have, I could lend him or her. If I don't have, I can.
Okay, I
Yes.
see. Yeah, makes sense. And is it like you borrowing money to others, or you also borrow like your scooty, like your motorcycle if you have one, or just different things, maybe your books, or maybe your whatever, you know?
Yeah. And if I have, and depend on how close we are.
Ah, okay,
So so I decided to lend him or not.
okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Um,
And I think if when they don't return things I lent, I get disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I lend him, I trust him. So I hope they keep their promises.
Mm. And one other example, if you know the person who needs, for example, money, and you can borrow it to, to the person, um, and it wouldn't help the person. It wouldn't help the person. Like, you know, the person uh, will have problems anyways if you borrow the person the money or not. Would you borrow it, even if it's like a close friend? I mean, you wouldn't help the person with borrowing. For example, you know the person is like addictive to playing games in a casino, and
No, I think in that case, I don't borrow him. Uh, I uh, I think I give him some advice, some useful advice, or talk to some friends close to him,
okay,
friends of family,
okay.
his family, to stop him. I
Okay.
hope I hope he could recognize it's
Mm-hmm.
not a bad habit. It's not good habit.
Yeah, I like your answer. Okay, part two. Describe a time when you when you first met the person.
Mm, uh, Let me tell about my story. The person is my boss. It's my boss in the previous work in Ho Chi
Yeah.
Minh City.
Okay.
It happened 5 years ago, and my boss, his name is Tai Quang. He's very, I think he's very talented, careful, and easygoing person. We first met at his working place, and we talk about the work, about the jobs I applied. And actually, there's the last interview, the last interviews for the jobs I applied before. And so after that, I was here there for 4 years, and he's inspired me and taught me many things, many things, not only about the work, but also about the life.
All right. That means you are inspired by the person, and the person impressed you in the first moment you met.
Mm, I think the he is inspire me
Mhm. And why did you choose to talk about your boss?
because uh, when I graduated from university, he is the first boss in my life. So he has a big influence on me.
Okay.
Yeah, big influence on me on my works, on my work, on
Work.
how yes, how I manage my work, how I solve any problem.
Mm-hmm.
I so he taught me have a two logical mind when
Mm.
solving any work.
Mm. You want to get also, you want to become also a boss like him?
Mm, I don't know. I'm not sure about it.
O-
It's a
Okay.
future. I can guess my future.
Okay.
How is my future?
Yeah. Okay, my suggestion to be like to be honest, don't let the boss influence too much you know. And he can abuse his power. He's your boss, but he's still a human, you know, like he's just a person, just a man who has the opportunity to give jobs to people, to help people. So keep in mind that he should always help people and not command them and be an asshole sometimes. Okay, all right. I think we're done with the part 2. We could switch to the next person, Tiffany.
So
Okay.
before we go to next person, I want to give you some feedback, Selena. So
Yeah, thank you for
yesterday I corrected your work, and your writing is better than your speaking, I think, because like when you it's about your writing, it's more correct. Like when you know it's right, but when you speak, sometimes you make that mistake, even like you know what is right. So like belong me, you said belong me, so it should be belong to me. I think you know that. And so lend things from others, so it should have been lend thing to others. And borrow from, so with after lend we use to. Yeah. And after borrow we use from.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I forgot it.
Sorry,
Because when I talk I'm talking with Timo, I have some nervous maybe.
Yeah, the preposition, you forgot the prepositions like to, or sometimes also like a, you know, like yeah, like
article.
Article, yeah, prepositions, article. Yeah, you know it. Use them.
All right. Thank you, Timo and Selena.